Psychic vampires. How to be one and harm none. Have you been diagnosed as manic? Have people told you you're draining them or they get exhausted around you? Have you noticed that you get very amped up or feel great intensity or anxiety in crowds? Do people find you intimidating just being in their presence? Do you go through hibernation and seem to sleep for days, have no energy, or feel depleted and hard to pull out of that depressive space? If this sounds like the cycles and experience of your life, there is hope. Chapter 2. Types of Energy Consumers. Because of the negative connotations of the term psychic vampire, I've chosen to refer to us as energy consumers, as that is exactly what is happening. Normal people tend to remain in a small space of frequency. Our ideas, beliefs, and other mentalities shape that in many ways. However, there are also those of us that are born and remain in a state of fluctuating frequencies. Many of us don't adhere to the social conformity that normal people gravitate to. Instead, we tend to find alternate views of reality or perceptions that are far from the usual. Many of us have learning disabilities like dyslexia or similar characteristics and diagnosis. In many ways, it may even feel like we live in a very different world, and as we evolve, we literally do. But let's put a pin in that for later. These fluctuating frequencies in our spirit bodies are, at least in my own experience, why we ebb and tide so hard in our own energies we're trying to contain in this human shell, and the struggle to balance. It's like being a rechargeable battery. Energetically, it's the same cycle, but it can be like the Energizer Bunny on crack and steroids if overloaded. The only answer I have for why some of us seem to need more energy exchange than the norm is that we're just born energy manipulators. I like to compare it to Doctor Strange in the way his power is the ability to use energies, but without all the cool effects. Something in the design of who we are gives us the ability to use and wield energies in a way so natural we do it easily and entirely by default, often thoughtlessly. While everyone has this ability to manipulate energies, once the conformities are in check through early life experiences, the majority will harmonize in that frequency and settle. The difference, it appears, is in those of us that won't be bound to rules and ideas that do not resonate in truth for us. The other and most common type of energy consumer is the type that earned the title psychic vampires. They will do anything to get fed, such as creating discord amongst others, going to extremes in their actions and risks, and manipulating other people in whatever ways feed that depletion. This type often feeds randomly and like a shark, just sniff the chum and attack, though some may find a good spot to leech and hang out in it. What I mean by that is they find people that carry so much energetic baggage they are dumping like drama on the stage of the world. They gravitate toward those surrounded by chaos and toss a trigger the moment they know it's there. Emotional baggage of any kind is the easiest to provoke. Feeding on those harmful emotions not only fulfills that energy exchange, it often feeds the ego or other ravenous part of the consumer and exacerbates the insecurities and fears of the person being fed upon. Overall, it's a detrimental cycle that leaves them wanting more and more. This is because while they may get the momentary rush, it's like snacking on a candy bar instead of getting a good healthy meal. No matter the type of consumer, the solution is understanding that connection and flow of energy, releasing fears and other negative idealisms, and tapping into a greater source of cosmic energy. Becoming conscious and aware of your vibration will assist in creating the peace within. Hello, I'm Samantha Phoenix, and I want to thank you for listening to Chapter 2, Types of Energy Consumers, from Psychic Vampires, How to Be One and Harm None. So to give you some understanding of where the content of this chapter came from, I want to explain that I'm not talking about other people as much as I'm actually talking about myself and my own experiences, either what I was able to see in others that I did not want to manifest and project from myself, or things for me to be aware of so that I didn't repeat those behaviors. Not because many of these behaviors were my own, but to keep them from being my own in the process of wanting to not harm others while I figured out how to satiate that energy depletion. Trying to regulate all that energy is literally impossible in our carbon-based bodies. As we become crystalline beings, it does start to find its own equilibrium. Until then, that balance or equilibrium is what we are struggling with. As we figure out our own ways of being able to enhance that energy flow, find a source to tap into that is greater than the emotional exchanges that we have as humans. This is the point that becomes necessary in our awareness so that we do understand that's what we're doing. I've recently discovered some resentments that had to be let go of between myself and someone I care very much about. In understanding that was there, I also understood how I was constantly feeding that energy between us. And while we both may be holding some of that energy, I no longer have to perpetuate it. That's the moment I became responsible in my awareness. So in that, it really is about constantly being aware of yourself, of your energy, and what you're doing with it, whether it's to yourself or to others. We don't intentionally, most of the time, mean to be harmful with those around us, especially the people we love. But in not loving ourselves and giving only those higher vibrational energies of hope, gratitude, gratefulness, love, blissfulness, all of those things that keep us in that higher resonance energy, we can't give anything but those energies that are less than for others to absorb. I appreciate those of you tuning in and look forward to sharing Chapter 3, Energy Manipulations, in our next episode. May all your energies be filled with bliss.